What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Earth's Mightiest Idiots, where we are nerds, we are idiots, we're nerds who are idiots. We're also very sorry for the sabbatical we took. Life happens. I think Jar Jar Binks said that. Life happens.
It was a social experiment. We want to see how loyal you were.
Yes, and all of you are still subscribed, so thank you. We appreciate it. Hope everyone's been swell. We kind of took the summers off to handle life and whatever is. I was on vacations and traveling for work and this and that, and everyone had stuff going on. But we are back, and we're going to talk about that nerdy stuff.
Yep.
We are going to spend this episode. We're not going to backtrack. We're going to assume you all loved the rest of Obi-Wan, because we all did. We're going to assume you watched Miss Marvel, though we're going to touch on that ever so slightly. We're going to talk about the current stuff, and we'll get there. But first, we didn't forget how this starts. We talk about our nerd outfits. What are you wearing today? Who are you modeling? This is like New York Fashion Week. Show us what you got.
Very GQ.
Without the strut. Don't strut.
I won't strut. I don't want to make anyone feel any kind of way. So it's the many expressions of Vader. You know, very different, seeing different emotions he's displaying in his face.
Oh, he looks very cheerful in that one.
He's very diverse. Very diverse.
Yes.
It's a plethora of emotion.
Yes.
That's what I'm wearing.
And I am wearing, fittingly, Power Rangers baseball jersey, the Dragon Zords. It fits my brand very much. This is a little shameless self-promotion. If you go to twitch.tv/KDJTV, you can watch me play MLB The Show, sometimes wearing those helmets. So
very important.
Sometimes. It doesn't always go well when that happens, but hey, we do it for the content. But we're here. We're happy to be back. First, we're going to talk about a tad bit of news before we jump in. Let me open my trusty sidekick, MacBook Pro. Not a sponsor, but could be. Steve Jobs.
Good.
D23 Expo is this week. That is huge. That is arguably, as far as Marvel is concerned, bigger than, or at least equal to, San Diego Comic-Con. So
it's kind of a big deal.
We are expecting something that's going to knock the socks off, because largely the D23 Expo, while it's a fan event, is also for stockholders to see everything coming. Be like, oh, good, I'm putting my money in a good place to make me more money. So the expectation right off the bat, I think this is a rumor, not based in any sort of fact. I think the biggest news we're going to get is going to have to do with Fantastic Four. I think they're going to officially confirm the director, which I think has been out there in the news, but has not been mentioned by Marvel. It's, the person, hold on, Fantastic Four director. We're going to find this out. The Fantastic Four director, Matt Shakman, that's who it was. That's his name. He was on WandaVision.
Oh, very good.
I think we're going to get casting news. I don't know if we're going to get the full cast. I think we're going to get a part of the cast, because they want this movie to come out in 2024. It's time to start working on it.
Swinging for the fences.
It's time to start working on it. What did you think of John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, and should he be in the movie Mr. Fantastic?
I thought it was great, because I like how they think enough of their fans that they listened to them and thought that this would be a good idea. So it was totally fan service, but I thought it was well done.
It was cool fan service.
It was cool fan service. I thought it was excellent. And, do I imagine him as Reed Richards so much? Probably not, but I got used to just seeing him fan casted there forever. So I think I was just kind of, it's like that, what do you call it? Like acquired taste.
Yeah.
I had those constant fan castings taking place. Would I have picked him? Probably not. I don't know who I would pick, because Reed is a much more complex character than they've ever shown on screen.
Mm-hmm. He's a good actor.
There are times
people just think he's a really good actor. People think he's just
Krasinski's
The Office.
Amazing. No,
he's a really
not
good actor.
on Krasinski.
Yeah.
He's terrific. But Reed Richards is very complex, and there are times and certain decisions that he's made in comic books history that are cold and borderline on villainous. Mm-hmm. But he's so I don't know. I don't know who I'd pick, but if they did pick Krasinski to do it again, I would be totally fine with it. There is
I
a
like.
little alternate ending stuff where they say Reed survived
Mhm.
being torn to ribbons. It makes sense. Whatever.
I like
It
the
doesn't matter either
idea.
way to me.
I like the idea of an older Reed Richards. The first Fantastic Four that came out, I forgot the actor's name. He's maybe Scottish or
Yeah.
he's been in TV. Good actor, nothing wrong with him. He was a
Yeah.
little bit on like the early
The
professional side of
first
his
thing I
life.
saw him in was King Arthur,
Yeah,
where
and
he played
he's fine.
Lancelot.
He's fine, if not forgettable, I think. And then
Yes.
the most recent Fantastic Four, we're going to choose to not discuss because it was a waste of actually a
I
good
don't even know what
cast.
you're talking about.
Exactly. But like another young Fantastic Four. I would like to see a semi-older Fantastic Four. We don't need the origin story again. If you want to flashback to it, sure. We don't need it. Maybe Sue and Reed have kids, because I know that's a thing in the comics. Maybe we just move a little ahead.
Yes. Well, here's the big thing about Reed Richards. Outside of how great he is as a character, and he's the smartest man in the world, and all that stuff, he's related to Kang the Conqueror.
He is.
Nathaniel
And it's a
Richards
great.
is Kang the Conqueror. So
It makes perfect sense to have him now.
touching on Reed a little bit to start having connectivity to Nathaniel Richards.
Yeah.
So I mean, they have to start bringing him in more.
Mhm.
So I think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to get, like you said, Fantastic Four news. I also think we're going to get X-Men news too.
And the only other casting rumor I heard for Fantastic Four, obviously very much a rumor. Everyone wants Emily Blunt, John Krasinski's wife, to be Sue Storm. If whatever, fine. I'm not even talking about that. Jason Segel as the Thing. Jason Segel's from How I Met Your Mother. He's
Yeah.
All sorts of other very funny things. I don't hate it. I am very curious if the Thing goes full CGI or if they go weird Hellboy type of costume or like weird original Fantastic Four costume where it looks stupid. Like, I don't know what they do.
Here's the thing. I'm all about practical effects. I think it's a lost art, practical effects. But Marvel has proven, and again, She-Hulk not being top tier, but Marvel has proven that CGI can be incredible between de-aging.
Yeah.
Most of Iron Man, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. stopped wearing his suit a long time ago. A lot of that's just CG right over him.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you can do a good CGI if the money's there and you have a good team. So I would be fine with either one. I think there's a lot to be said for practical effects, but if the CG or even a hybrid of some CGI and practical effects or whatever, but they know what they're doing. So
like, because I mean, again, they're a lot smarter than I am, but if they just go full CGI, I worry that it'll just be an orange Hulk.
Yeah.
Because that like just.
Well, I mean, not for nothing.
It's a strange look that he has.
It's not exactly the same, but you can get a glimpse. Look at Korg. The Thing is a cracked rock thing. Korg is a cracked rock thing. Not the same, but they do a decent job. Either way, considering Kevin Feige is one of our fans, I
Kevin's
all my trust.
Because if you guys recall, in our last episode before sabbatical, we talked about that the She-Hulk CGI didn't look great. And then what happened? The next week, they announced that they were fixing it. And it still doesn't look great, but it looks better.
Yes. That's it's not great, but it is better.
It is what it is. A couple other things to expect from D23. Let me just go down the list
also,
here.
I will say, speaking of D23, that also makes me, in my head, think of D20. I also want to see the Dungeons & Dragons movie that's coming out.
I do too. I think it's going to be a weird, potentially semi-comedic Lord of the Ringsy type of thing.
I think it's going to be a dark horse. I think people are going to like it a whole lot more than they're expecting, and I think they'll probably make most of their money when it's out of the theater and more people see it on streaming and all the other platforms or whatever. But I think it's going to be one of those movies that has moderate success, but then ultimately far greater success when it's out of the theater. And
we will review it when it comes time. This person here, who I'm reading this article from, is expecting the full Phase 5 and 6 slates to be revealed. If you remember at San Diego Comic-Con, they did not go all the way to Phases 5 and 6. They did say how it will end.
No,
They
they
just,
talked about secret wars
yes,
and
they just did not give us the stuff in the middle.
Yeah.
I really hope that stuff in the middle includes some X-Men, which could also be teased at D23. I also hope it gives us some mention of what's next for Peter Parker. I probably am getting my hopes up for that, but think about it. The end of phase 6 though is 2026. Like, we're gonna go 4 full years with no Peter Parker. I don't know.
I do think we're getting close to the X-Men because between Miss Marvel announcing at the end that she's a mutant, and then they played the little riff from the cartoon, between showing Professor X in Multiverse of Madness, I think there's lots of little tiny baby steps they're building to the X-Men so that when they say X-Men, it's just there. And they did have the nod in She-Hulk about, Claude Mann and bar fight, whatever.
Logan is a bad.
And actually, that's the only Marvel property that has even acknowledged the Eternals at all in that brief little thing.
Why is there a large human man sticking out of the ocean? We'll use the last D23 potential surprise as a good segue into She-Hulk. This person thinks, based off She-Hulk episode 3, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but if you haven't seen it, why are you here? The Hulk is just on a rocket to Sakaar.
You gotta go.
World War Hulk might be coming. Apparently, the rumor is, because we don't know the contract details, that in 2023, Disney/Marvel/Mickey Mouse are allowed to distribute Hulk movies again.
Yeah, the Hulk property is a little tricky with how that was,
because it's Universal. I think.
Yeah, it's right? Kind of is a little bit of a tricky, kind of walking through a landmine with the minefield with that. So.
Yeah, so Ragnarok was kind of like our tease of World War Hulk, or Planet Hulk, I think is what it was.
Planet Hulk, yeah.
But now we're hopefully going to get like another Bruce Banner movie. Before we talk She-Hulk, just talking Incredible Hulk.
Sure.
To be perfectly honest, I miss the older Hulk of like 5 years ago.
I'm so glad you said that.
I don't really love campy Mark Ruffalo Hulk. I like Mark Ruffalo and I like the Hulk. I liked when they were separate.
Yeah.
I am not sold on this just happy-go-lucky Hulk thing.
Yeah. No, I'm not a big fan either. I want to go back to Incredible Hulk, movie Hulk, even like Avengers, original Avengers Hulk.
When he was a menace.
When he was terrifying and ferocious, and you saw him and you ran. So I want to go back to that, because the whole the Smart Hulk thing was a thing in the comic books, but honestly,
and it's cool.
For me, it works in the comics. Doesn't really work here, I don't think. And they also aren't really doing it justice, because they're making him more goofy and corny, not really how Smart Hulk actually is. And Mark also, Ruffalo, if you also look in the original Avengers movie, the Mark Ruffalo of that movie and this Mark Ruffalo
very different.
This Mark Ruffalo is dope. The Mark Ruffalo in the original, like, he looked like a tortured man. He there was gravitas in his performance, whereas this, you might as well have Steve Urkel hulking out.
There's been some evolution.
Yes, I showed my age with the Urkel reference. I'm sorry, but
it's okay. There's been some evolution in Bruce Banner. I'm not saying Smart Hulk cannot exist. I would just like to not lose the comedy, because I think what Marvel does so well most of the time is those funny one-liners and things like that. But Hulk he's a Hulk. He's not vicious, but he should be something scary.
But you know why he has to stand out even more now? He needed to before, but now he has to do it more now, because you have She-Hulk, who doesn't transition personality at all. She's the same. Now you have Abomination, who
might be funny too.
Yeah, and they made him goofy too. But I feel like he's less important. The Hulk has to go back to take that mantle of like, I'm the Hulk. That mantle has to be taken back, because none of them are scary. He needs to return. The Hulk works best when you feel a little cringe of fear when he looks at you with those eyes turned green, and that doesn't mean he can't be in control still.
he could still like snap his fingers and go back to Bruce Banner, but when he becomes the Hulk, he's vicious. Good transition to She-Hulk now.
Yep.
Things I like about She-Hulk so far. We talk about how it's funny and unserious. I think that's what it does so well. I think She-Hulk is a fun watch because it doesn't take itself too seriously. Breaks the fourth wall, talks about the cameos that are coming, but like, hey, still remember, it's my show. It's not these people's shows. Comparing it to Miss Marvel really quickly, I liked the direction that Miss Marvel eventually went in. I like that it got to where it got to. It was a heartwarming family story about a kid growing up. But sometimes I felt like Miss Marvel, the TV show, didn't know if it wanted to be funny, serious, drama, this, that. She-Hulk knows its lane. It stays in its lane. She's been a fun actress to learn about and see perform. I like where we're going so far.
Yeah. I feel pretty much the same way because I feel like the things I would criticize about She-Hulk are right in line with the comic, which also didn't take itself terribly seriously, and she would occasionally break the fourth wall in comic too. So, if we're talking about, and it's mostly comic accurate, I did like that they touched upon, I think in the last episode, because I believe, and I'm sure there's 100 million people who tell me I'm wrong, but I think the gist of it is the original origin story, I think, is that she suffered from like a mob hit and needed a blood transfusion.
Yeah, that's exactly
it. That's how it happened. So I do like that they referenced that a little bit in the third episode.
Yeah,
that was a good nod.
And kind of blood was still sort of transfused here.
So yeah, and it was a little goofier this way, but whatever. Who cares?
But I also think it was intentionally written goofy to fit the tone of the story. Like she's just glossing over the fact, like, yeah, it happened. We fell. He cut his arm. It happened to fall right in my skin. Like I think that was the comedy of it.
That's as goofy as I find this Hulk that they have now. He could make me some drinks at his tiki bar. I'm okay with that. I'll sit at the tiki bar. Hulk can make me some drinks. He's good for that.
We also learned that he's got a really, really cool like super lab underneath his house.
Yeah. Yeah, he said I think Tony gifted to him. Or so he said.
And Tony helped him build it or something?
That might be a little accurate adjacent. I think he just kind of stole that from Tony. Yeah. But
maybe.
I think it was a little screwed up that he had buzzsaws at a chamber to try and motivate her. I mean, I know you're banking on self-preservation being a catalyst, but God forbid something didn't go right there. That man would be responsible for murder.
It's also, I thought that was funny because like she is immediately, theoretically, a more superior Hulk in the way in which she can manage herself, which would then lead me to believe that could anybody in that family be a Hulk? Like genetically, because clearly their genes align.
The cousin's name was Ched, right? Was that the one of the cousins' names was Ched, and he was like this?
Yes, the long-haired guy.
The long-haired guy.
Yeah, he'd be a funny Hulk.
Yeah, I kind of it's tricky. I feel like they, and honestly, it's not just Marvel. They all have a tendency to do this, rather than build up and see and let the viewer see over time of the strengths and weaknesses of the character. They try to establish them as being almost perfect in every way, like things that took him forever to learn she can just do. And that's why I did like the little thing where he finally just was like, I'm just going to throw this to like another star system just so you can see I am stronger than you. Yeah, because I mean they do this kind of stuff all the time, and I think it's a bit overused, because you care about people who are flawed and not perfect, not people. That's Spider-Man's entire strength is he's based on weakness.
Yeah.
But like, it is what it is. It's cookie cutter, but it's a fun show. I enjoy it. Now, Megan Thee Stallion is canon to the Marvel universe.
That's cool. That was a fun post-credit scene.
Sure, I'll take it.
So I also, a lot of the criticism, I think, of some of the more recent shows, I truly think that not every one of these Disney Plus characters is meant to exist in the movies.
Agreed.
And I don't like they're canon. Obviously, they're canon, but they're not meant to just immediately transition. Like, obviously, Miss Marvel is going to. Loki's been there. I'm crossing my fingers that Moon Knight gets a big movie, but
that's
like,
what I'm hoping.
I think She-Hulk. There are certainly other characters. Probably everybody from the cast of Secret Invasion. I am sure that they are going to just be TV specific. Maybe they make a cameo in a movie here or there, but like the next Avengers level threat, I would be blown away if some of these characters are actually in the movies.
Well, I feel like
They're
you need
creating like
team.
a pocket universe almost.
Well, we have a legal team with Matt Murdock and Jennifer Walters. You know, so they could be lawyers. You know, why not?
Yeah, and Daredevil, Matt Murdock. Well, Matt Murdock will be making a cameo in She-Hulk at some point. Will he be Daredevil? I think they teased that he would be, but I don't know how much that's going to be.
That'd be a little interesting because we know, obviously, he had his little cameo in
No Way Home.
No Way Home. Thank you. But prior to that, his series was super dark.
Yeah, it's not going to be anymore.
No, it won't be anymore.
Which I'm a little upset about, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, if they can keep it, just keep a little bit of that darkness. Not obviously, it's MCU, they're not going to keep it full, whatever. But I think to have him in a show, it makes sense that he would be on She-Hulk, being the whole legal background. But
yeah,
I think they have to be a little careful with him, not to have him lose any street cred being goofy on the show.
I really hope that he doesn't camp it up. Like he can have his funny one-liners, and Charlie Cox is a great actor and owns that role. He'll be great no matter what. But like, I'd like Daredevil to stay serious. He has a very serious backstory.
Exactly, and not for nothing. Just, I mean, again, we're talking about realism in a fantasy setting, but not everyone's a comedian. You know, not everyone needs to be funny, and Matt Murdock is not one of those people.
Yeah.
So I hope they, remember who that character is when you got him.
And like source material to me is something to be used as like a loose guideline. I don't care if they're to a T with the source material, but there are certain things that make Daredevil Daredevil. Let's not lose those things.
Well, it's the same thing, the things that make Batman Batman. There's certain iconic, there's just certain characters. I mean, there's the Marvel universe is thousands of characters. But if you think of like hardcore, who are the hardcore Marvel guys? Matt Murdock, Daredevil is one of them. And so there's a little less wiggle room. When you talk about Miss Marvel, you can get a little creative with that.
Which they did, and I think it ended up working pretty well.
Oh, and they did. Yeah, no, it was a good choice. And it was a good choice. But Daredevil, handle him properly.
Yeah. Okay, so that will conclude our little Marvel bit here. We'll be back with She-Hulk episode 4. I believe this is a 6-episode series. I'm going to look right now before we talk. I
may just, when we conclude the last episode of She-Hulk, talking about it, I just may rip my shirt off and Hulk out. I don't know.
Ooh. Okay. I'm not going to do that, but that might get the people. They're going to be
viewership. We might lose our 11 followers if they see my pal skin.
There will be 9 episodes of She-Hulk, so we have She-Hulk for another month and a half.
Okay. I'll go with that.
So that's exciting. You are going to now bring us with some Rings of Power talk. I have not watched Rings of Power. Truth be told, as I told you before, I heard it was terrible. You have a very opposite viewpoint. So enlighten the people.
So before I'm going to give my my disclaimer. So before, I'm sure we talk about, this was this in the Silmarillion and this book and this book. Look, have I looked at those books ages ago? Yes. I'm talking specifically though from film only. That's it. There's lots of token historians who can talk a million ways. I don't care about that stuff. So as a casual viewer who pays attention, I loved the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I think it's incredible. I think they're excellent movies, near perfect. It's a great trilogy. Not big on the Hobbit trilogy, whatever. Now, this show, I will admit, my expectations were abysmally low because people said a lot of things, and I was reading a lot of stuff and whatever. Now, going in open-minded with no overhyped expectations, I can honestly say I'm glad I didn't listen to any of that stuff or invested it too much, because there's only 2 episodes out now. I will say they're awesome. I think the cinematography is beautiful. You can see the budget to It's well written. I think the characters are, there's substance to them. The people playing Galadriel, excuse me, these elven names are very tricky to say.
Very true. Yeah.
And Elrond, obviously they are younger actors, but it is believable that they will turn into these people. And it's cool seeing them. And then there's even certain things, like even there's a little attention to detail, like they have, they touch on the first, for you token maniacs, they touch on the first age with Morgoth, who's like the big bad before Sauron becomes the big bad, and that war there and the Undying Lands and everything. The rings haven't been forged. The whole idea of the show is that the rings themselves haven't been made yet, and they're going to be made, and over the course of the show, which is pretty cool, and just really good. I mean, honestly, I don't, obviously there's only 2 episodes out so far, but it's got me hooked. I want to see the whole thing, and I'm already in 2 episodes in. I hope they make another season.
So that was going to be my next question, because the problem with prequel series, similar to House of the Dragons, which we both have not watched, and I honestly don't think I have an intention of watching. We know
House of the Dragons.
We know where it needs to get to. Eventually, there comes a point where it's like, okay, we're here. Now it's the main series. Like, is forging the rings the end of the Rings of Power? Does that happen at the end of one season? Like, where do we go?
There's a lot of things. I mean, if it happens in one season, it happens in one season. I don't think you need to. You have to, and again, I'm sure someone could assign an exact numerical value for the time between this and whatever. Basically, The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings is Third Age. What they reference in the beginning of Rings of Power with Morgoth, all that's First Age. So this is the Second Age. There's not a lot about Second Age to begin with, except certain highlights that I believe it was Tolkien's son had expanded upon it a little bit. But there's at least 1,000+ years between this and the Lord of the Rings.
So we've got lots of seasons.
Yeah, there's a lot, and elves live a very long time. So
yes,
it's actually a point that it's very rare to see an elf with a beard. It shows an elf's age if they have a beard because of how they age and all that stuff. But anyway, that said, excellent show. I will tell you, ignore everything you've read and is there a couple little liberties taken? Sure, but it's not out of the realm of believability. Nothing, to me, it honors the source material. I don't see anything in there that spits in the face of the source material. It really good at world building. And the one thing I do like, because I'm kind of a D&D nerd too, is that when they move locations from one place to the next, they kind of do like the zoom out of like the countryside, and it kind of morphs into like a map and goes into this, and it kind of zooms in.
I like that. Very
well done. And I hope they keep going. I think it's great. And I have no criticisms yet.
Well, if they want to go 10 seasons, they've got Amazon money behind it. So Lord knows they can keep spending.
And I'll entice any nerdy people out there. If you do watch it and listen to me, every one of you, if you act now, 500 experience in the next D&D campaign.
Correct.
Plus
which we have not done a campaign in a while, so we're
going to.
Yes,
definitely going to.
For those, I am totally fine giving this to the people. My character's name is Farticus the Stanky, so he's doing great. He's taking a little nap, but he's doing great. He hasn't played in a while, but we D&D from time to time.
He is a cool character, and we do D&D. Nerd gaming at its best.
We have fun with it. All right, so I don't think we have anything else to review. You know what it might be time for? Everyone's favorite part, where you get screwed.
You're getting screwed on the character.
Where you get screwed.
All right, let's find out.
So, would you like one or two?
I feel like I pick one a lot.
I don't know. It's been a while.
It has been a while. I'm going to go with two.
Okay, List two. Now, again, I know you can't see what we're spinning. This is just proof that it's being spun
on the up and up,
live on air. And you said two, right?
I'm going to go with two.
Okay, here we go. The wheel is spinning. So, what do you think? Is this going to be a good one or a bad one?
My money is on me getting screwed.
Well, it stopped. You want to know who it is?
Sure.
You got a really good one.
Oh,
Galactus.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You got
I'm not even
Galactus.
prepared. I feel like this is a lot for me to take in. All right.
Hopefully I get
Yo,
a large
Galactus
cosmic.
is a tough. That's
I need
a
a
tough
large
win for you,
cosmic
man.
being. Oh God, I'm gonna get something stupid like Robin or something. I got. Oh! You know what? It was almost Steppenwolf, but
Who is it?
it's the Thinker. Maybe we can find a way here. Maybe there's some science involved. It's not a 1-to-1 matchup, but maybe we can do it.
Maybe the Thinker, with his vast superior intellect,
Can convince everybody that a large
every
cosmic
single
being,
person on the planet to gang up, unify against Galactus,
yeah.
and maybe even talk to his herald, the Silver Surfer.
Listen, the Thinker from the Flesh, rest in peace, Arrowverse, by the way, is very strong. Very strong. Okay.
I eat planets.
Including the planet I'm on. So
I'm a Death Star with feet.
yeah. We'll take a short break so I can somehow figure out how a small old man in a chair that floats who doesn't have limbs
I might not even need Grogu for this.
I gotta beat Galactus. So we'll be back. Stay tuned, and Lord help me, please. All right, everybody, we are back. We have deliberated a little bit. We have learnt what there is to learn. Someone has a pretty clear advantage here. I'm swinging for the fences. I'm gonna start throwing uppercuts and haymakers and hoping one of them lands. But we're gonna start with Galactus over here, who is pretty strong.
He is. Okay, well, I'm pretty much the end of the world. Before I was Galactus, my name was Gallon. I was a space explorer. But that's really the least interesting part of of who he is. He's, I think most of us know who Galactus is from cartoons, from multiple source material. Galactus is pretty well known.
He's got the funny helmet.
Goofy looking a little bit, but that's all right. So basically, when your time is up, Galactus comes. He sends his herald first, which is typically the Silver Surfer, although apparently we just learned that at some point Aunt May might have been a herald of Galactus.
I knew she was a special lady.
Yes, she was. And a few others, but whatever. I'll stick with Silver Surfer because it's easy. What he does is Galactus gives a portion of his power, however minute, to his herald, in this case, Silver Surfer. And Silver Surfer will come to your planet to announce, guess what? You've been chosen to be completely devoured by Galactus. Give your family a big hug, and good luck. You're all going to die. That's pretty much what that does. And he kind of prepares. He's sort of like the waiter who brings the plate out for the guy. So Galactus has a wide assortment of powers. He's one of the oldest entities in the entire Marvel universe. He was actually from a previous pre-Big Bang, essentially. He was from the whole other thing before we were even a thing. He has size alteration. He can create life. He has telepathy on a mass scale. He can recreate dead planets. He can create force fields. You could probably find 100 other things, but at the end of the day, he is a walking apocalypse, not to be confused with X-Men Apocalypse, not to be confused with the lightning storm cloud in Rise of the Silver Surfer. Although called Galactus, he is not a storm cloud. He is the end of all things.
He is a large purple and magenta costumed man.
Yes, he is goofy, but it's kind of like being pajama rich, where you have so much money it doesn't matter what goofy stuff you do. He can afford to be so goofy because when you see him, it's over. So now to your point, since you have the Thinker, I'm just going to say full props to the Thinker. I will say he's a very smart man. I give him full credit. I respect the Thinker enough to eat him and the other trillions of people in the world. And if I ever want to think about the Thinker, maybe I'll just reflect on that. But
So
As smart as he may be, he is still a mortal man. He's lived a mortal life. I've
yes.
been around before recorded time.
Hmm.
And I've
But-
wiped out lots of planets with arguably probably pretty smart people.
Yeah.
And I'll throw this out. Considering we generally believe that aliens have superior technology to us because of how they travel. I will say that as smart as the thinker may be, there's probably a lot of thinkers who are much smarter on other planets who I've eaten.
Hmm.
So that said, you could think while you're thinking about how to beat me, I'm already thinking about the next planet I'm going to devour after I devour yours. You go.
So thank you. In my reading, as I am a red fellow, I've learned that there are few species or even individuals that have the mental capacity to comprehend what Galactus even is. At least the thinker probably can. If he sees Galactus, he goes, oh, that's Galactus. He can at least tell what that is. So we're already one step ahead of the rest of the population.
Mhm.
The thinker, aka Clifford DeVoe, we're using the Arrowverse's version of the thinker for a variety of reasons. One, that's the one I'm most familiar with. I've seen the show. He's from The Flash. Two, it's probably the most overpowered the thinker has ever been. The Suicide Squad thinker we could just throw in the trash. That was a joke. The thinker has also been a villain for Batman and the Justice Society of America and
Hey, Garrick.
well, Clifford DeVoe is the Jay Garrick villain.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought he was okay.
Yeah. Well, so Clifford DeVoe is the Jay Garrick villain, but then they spun it off in the Flash as like just a Flash villain.
Okay.
Old man, crusty old man. He becomes very smart. He sits in a chair that hovers and has all sorts of powers.
So he's Professor X for DC.
Yes. The impetus of the chair, specifically of the version of which I am, he's more like MODOK, actually.
Okay.
Kind of. The chair in the Flash TV series has a ton of special powers and technologies because the Flash is a show that is so focused on metahumans and really hammers it home every episode that there are metahumans afoot.
Mhm.
The thinker learns about metahumans, learns more about like how they are created and the backstories behind them, and his chair is able to absorb, even temporarily, the powers of metahumans. So
Okay.
I'm just going to quickly read off a list of things that he's able to do because of this. Telepathy, pretty cool. Probability manipulation. I could stop you getting here before you even thought to come here. Maybe. Size alteration. You think you're a big boy. I can make myself a big boy. We have a fist fight with me in my chair. Technopathy. I can break free of a neural inhibitor. That doesn't matter. Sound manipulation, dimensional travel. I can do all these things.
Oh, I could open portals and teleport also.
Cool. Gravity manipulation. I could bring a planet to fall right down on you. Then you'll probably eat it, but please stop. DNA manipulation, elasticity. All these things I can do. All of these are a drop in the bucket when it comes to Galactus. I understand. However, I think because Galactus has seen a lot, I think you might respect me. Not as an equal. I'm not arguing this. But at least it's like, wow, this person has advanced far beyond what this species of creature should be able
You're
to
a
do.
model example for your species.
Exactly. With questionable morals.
Yes. I
As
think
we
the
have.
best the thinker can hope for would be for Galactus to offer for him to be a herald of Galactus.
That'd be fine. But also, here's the other thing.
Sure.
I don't want to defeat you. I am smart. Galactus, he must exist to keep Abraxas confined. Do you know who Abraxas is?
Hit me, but yeah.
Okay, so Abraxas, sometimes called the Dark Man, which is a problematic name, but He's a cosmic entity who embodies the literal destruction of the entire Marvel multiverse. If Galactus is gone, this thing is free. The Marvel multiverse does not exist anymore. I don't want that type of destruction. I want to learn all about multiverses, DC or otherwise. I want to keep you alive. I want to impress you, show you that I am worthy of your respect, and then hopefully convince you to leave me alone.
So this sounds like it's more of something akin to WandaVision, where we discuss the ship of Theseus and come to an agreement, and then I leave.
I have, because I'm so smart, I know the battles I can't win. I can at least show you all the things I can do. Be like, hey, Mr. Galactus, sir, leave us alone, please, because I will lead these people to a better life. Also, if you're dead, bad things happen.
Yeah, I always Galactus. I said he's not evil. He's often portrayed as a villain, but he's really not. He's a force of nature. He has to exist. He's neither good or bad. He's not really judging what he's eating. He's just eating.
He's a hungry boy. He's a hungry, growing boy.
And Silver Surfer is.
You don't get the Silver Surfer. He's not part of your fight, but just for
no,
the sake of argument.
I know. Yeah. Part of a big part of Galactus is he always has a herald before he comes. And in most cases, that's Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer, he's one of the most powerful MCU, very underrated character. But he's one of the most powerful MCU characters. Got his powers gifted to him from Galactus, and it's the smallest portion of Galactus's own power.
I hope, sidebar,
sure,
in the new Fantastic Four we're getting, which will inevitably become a franchise and a series, I hope we get a good Silver Surfer. Yeah, he doesn't even have to happen. He doesn't have to exist in Fantastic
Silver
Four.
Surfer was too bad.
But I don't. I just want a whole refresh of that, and he doesn't have to exist in Fantastic Four. He can exist somewhere else.
No, honestly, we're getting off track. But how they need to introduce Silver Surfer, honestly, is in the Guardians of the Galaxy, because that's more space centric. So that's where that
Volume 3 coming down the pike.
I think that needs to happen.
Yeah. James Gunn. Hold on.
I think this might be
James Gunn.
Though. I don't think he wants to do it.
Hey, James. Yeah.
Oh, do you have his number?
Yes. Silver Surfer. Oh, you're on it. Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
Perfect.
Goodbye. Love you.
Excellent.
Say hi to the kids.
I'm glad you have these kind of connections.
I do.
Yeah, I honestly, I mean, I could say other stuff, but Galactus is, for anyone that knows, anytime there's any kind of battle with Galactus in any major, and it's always in a major storyline. It's not just some random thing that pops up. It's also a major event. There's an army of super powerful heroes, usually bad and good, allied alike. So this is not the fight that even the most powerful individual in Marvel or DC, no one's going to win it by themselves. And chances are they may not. And usually the way they beat Galactus is not brute force, or it's not. There's always some caveat.
It's by thinking.
Agreed. And he's really never beaten. He's just goes along with
skewed.
Yeah, so yes. If we're just talking about simple, put up your dukes and beating Galactus, there is no match here. You're really talking about convincing Galactus to leave your planet alone.
And I'm smart enough to potentially do so, because I was also a former lawyer.
Not a good lawyer, though.
No, former.
I read your background. I think Jennifer Walters will crush you.
If you're a good lawyer, you're not a former lawyer. You're a lawyer.
True. That's kind of like, a doctor that has a C average. They're still a doctor.
Correct.
So yeah, I mean,
so let's quickly play the what if game, because this is not an even match.
Sure.
For all the finagling I could try here. Galactus versus the Watcher. Is he above the Watcher? Or is the Watcher above Galactus?
Galactus would win.
Okay, Galactus.
Honestly, it wouldn't happen because the Watcher really never intervened anyway.
It wouldn't, but theoretically.
But even still,
our entire show is theoretical.
Of course. But yeah, Galactus would still win.
Galactus versus Darth Vader.
Galactus.
Galactus versus Kamehameha Blast from Goku.
I don't know. I'm not a big Dragon Ball Z.
I'm not
person.
Either.
Maybe. I don't know.
Galactus versus Big Bird. We should put Big Bird on the wheel.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, so Galactus is up there with like the top 3 most powerful comic figures.
You're talking about to have any kind of like level playing field with Galactus. You're talking talking about like the upper pantheon of Marvel gods, like Eternity, like you're not talking about Spider-Man or and you're not even your favorite super strong one. You'd have a better shot taking the Phoenix Force, which is usually bonded with Jean Grey. That would be a good fight. But again, even with that tremendously powerful entity, I mean, the Phoenix is usually her entire major, like the Dark Phoenix saga, which is iconic, is a major thing. So, but even that's not a clear-cut victory either. They're both, it's just one of those things where this is almost, I'm kind of screwed in reverse with this, because this is almost, it's gravity. If I pull something off the table, it's going to fall. I mean, this was a win from the second it ended with us.
Yeah. Also, when I first created these lists, the lists plural, the first thing I did was like, I'm going to take Darth Vader out. He's going to win every fight. I should have taken Galactus out.
Galactus is less a character and more an event. This is like the end of days. Just so you know, I was saying this before, in Marvel Zombies, Galactus comes to the world after it's been overrun with the zombies. And Silver Surfer's telling them, be grateful because your world sucks and your suffering's going to end now. And what's kind of funny is in the Marvel Zombies, this little anecdote, this little short story, with the Hulk, the angrier he gets, the more powerful he gets. In Marvel Zombies, whenever Banner's hungry, it triggers the Hulk. The hungrier Hulk gets, the more powerful he gets. So when Silver Surfer comes, zombified Hulk is so hungry, he's able to bite into the Silver Surfer, get him down, and the zombies got the power cosmic, and were able to literally nibble on Galactus and eventually take him down. This is not typical.
So I did not add any zombified Marvel characters to the wheel, but that would have been my only hope.
Yeah, I mean, but that's really never happened in any other title, and it's more of a Marvel Zombies is kind of like a goofy kind of fun. It's not whatever, but it just, point being is that it's more of an event. The world had gone to crap. It got chosen to be eaten by Galactus. He's less of a character and more of a story, a plot line, a hook for a greater story. He's not, he doesn't have his own. If he did, I don't know about it, but he doesn't have his own comic book. You might see him in a Silver Surfer comic book, but whatever. But again, he's more of an event. He's less a character and more of something in Marvel lore, and usually pulled out for some grand scale, massive thing on this level of Secret Wars or whatever.
And the Thinker is so insignificant that he was a terrible character in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Galactus would be a great Avengers movie. I know they're talking about Secret Wars and they're talking about other stuff
and stuff. Yeah.
Galactus would be like a build up of a two. I mean, that's the kind of level Galactus is something like that.
This is another tangent. We're going to do this quickly because we don't usually do this in this part of the show. But when this Kang Dynasty stuff ends, and as much as I would love sequels and trilogies to No Way Home just alone, where I have 3 Spider-Men whipping across the screen all the time, I cannot wait until the multiverse is gone. I don't want to deal with it anymore. I think it's become a can of worms that has become so out of control, it's almost ridiculous. I'm ready to go back to this is our universe. It's not a multi thing. This is where we live.
Yeah.
So maybe then we can have Galactus.
It's getting spammed. It's really it is a spammy kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the allure of it is you can pretty much do anything you want. That's where it really comes from.
Which leads to lazy writing. Sometimes,
Sure.
Not all the time, sometimes. All right, so I'm going to take the L on this one. I did my best. I had an old crippled man in a chair. Hopefully I got your respect a little bit.
But you earned his respect.
Yes. That's a victory in my book. So we end as we always end.
Yes.
Words of wisdom that may or may not always be wisdomly. I also have some words of wisdom today. Would you like me to go first or second?
Yeah,
I
you
am
can go
fi-
first. Feel free.
Okay. Sometimes people will leave you. We came back. You can always count on your nerds. That's your wisdom. I don't really know where that brings us to, but I just wanted to let you guys know we'll always be back in some capacity.
All right. Well,
His will be better.
maybe.
Adjacent.
All right. Well, I will say that, first of all, thank you for tuning in and not giving up. This was just a giant test to see what kind of loyal fan base we have.
And you indulged us.
So I will say life is 10% of what happens to you. It's 70% of how you react to it.
That's 80.
And it's 20%
100.
of liking and subscribing to this show.
Life is only complete by liking, subscribing, and I'll add one more thing. Commenting down below how the thinker would beat Galactus.
And listen, tell your tell your friends, be like, if they're really your friends and they really think enough of you, you tell them to like and subscribe on this show because it is their civic duty to you. They owe it to you, the viewer, to support you in what you enjoy and view.
Did your grandfather fall asleep once watching a Marvel movie? This show is for him because he at least tried. Tell him to like and subscribe.
And it would really help me out because I'm suffering from this chronic, debilitating problem. I have this chronic disease where I can only tell airplane jokes. The doctor says it's terminal.
See you guys next time.
Boom!